The impact of the First World War on the USA. So, the First World War ended in 1918, and it brought a lot of economic benefits for the USA. For one, the USA suffered no war damage, which was unlike Europe. Most of the battles occurred in Europe. So, many European countries needed to repair their economies and their land, so they seeked out loans from the USA to help aid their recovery. So, in turn, this was about 10,000 million loans in wartime loans to supply all those weaponry during the fighting, and this also led to post-war loans to repair all the damages done, like all those buildings, and to clean it up. And during the war, the USA had dominated export markets. Japan used to dominate those markets themselves, but because of the war, USA was able to take over those markets and export their own goods and services to the Europeans. So wheat, sugar, wool, the USA managed to thrive off of these goods. So isolationism. During this time, America adopted a policy of isolationism. This meant that they would be worried about their own problems and not intervene with world politics. This basically meant that they would be self-sufficient and self-dependent and worry about themselves instead of intervening with the politics and affairs of the Europeans. One example is the League of Nations. So Woodrow Wilson proposed an international organization called the League of Nations, where it would establish world peace amongst the entire world and fight for peace. So many Americans, because they were influenced by isolationism, the policy, and they did not want to damage the USA, they persuaded the government and voted to not join the League of Nations, even though Woodrow Wilson was the one who proposed it in the first place. One of the key reasons why the Americans did this was because they thought that American soldiers would just be used as weapons and arms by the other countries, because the war led to a lot of soldiers being injured and a lot of deaths. To the Treaty of Versailles itself, many Americans also thought that it was too harsh. Because many of the Allies had suffered very big damages from Germany, a lot of the Allies wanted to impose heavy reparations on Germany. So Germany also had to take full blame of the war, of starting the war, and it heavily embarrassed Germany, and also it made Germany pay 6,600 million pounds in reparations. So many Americans thought that the treaty was unfair for Germany because, one, Germany couldn't attend those meetings, so they couldn't negotiate. And as we know from Germany, it was like a diktat. They were just forced to accept the reparations. And also, instead of building up Germany again and making it a prosperous nation where everyone could trade and be peaceful, they wanted to make Germany suffer. So the USA did not think it was fair for Germany, so did not accept the treaty. And protectionist policies. We know from isolationism that Americans wanted to be by themselves and be self-sufficient. And they did not want other markets to affect America. So the American government emphasized Americans to buy American, so to prevent imports and such. So they input a few acts. May 1921, Emergency Tariff Act. So the government imposed import taxes on agricultural products such as wheat, sugar, and wool, so that Americans would buy those agricultural products within America. The American government also input in June 1921 the Budget and Accounting Act, which put controls on government spending, and on November 1921 they input the Revenue Act. The Revenue Act put direct taxes on individuals, it cut down taxes for individuals and wartime tax on high levels of profit, but it increased tax for businesses. And in September 1922, they put in the Fortney and Macomber Tariff Act. So from Emergency Tariff Act, they put down import taxes on agricultural products. But with the September 1922 Fortney and Macomber Tariff Acts, they also extended it to industrial goods. So this encouraged Americans to buy industrial goods within America, and the act also gave the president to raise tariffs whenever prices had started to rise. So this encouraged Americans to buy American goods, but it also reduced their exports because protectionism would make other countries retaliate. So this meant that the European countries retaliated with American tariffs, with their own tariffs on American exports. So this meant that American exports would become more expensive and so less popular for other countries to buy them. So Americans ended up being less prosperous than they wanted to be.